This is TWiT.
Now, I want to talk about the 16-inch MacBook Pro and if I should wait. Rene Ritchie.
I mean, were you planning on buying a 15-inch MacBook Pro today, Leo? I got a feeling what's at stake right now.
No, that's a good point.
Because you should definitely wait.
I always should hover my finger over the button. The rumors are getting stronger and stronger. We'd heard first from Ming-Chi Kuo, who said that Apple was buying these panels 3072 by 1920. These would be essentially 16-inch displays running in the equivalent of a 15-inch MacBook Pro bezel with the smaller bezels.
3K for 3K.
Yeah. We're now also hearing rumors that there will be a new keyboard. No more butterfly key. Is that credible?
Yeah. I mean, I think we talked about it a while ago. That was the general rumor, and several outlets I think have mentioned it, or several people have mentioned it, was that Apple was working on a new keyboard. They'd been working on it since a little time after they realized the other keyboard was non-feasible. It's been a couple of years because you can't just turn those things around. There's a lot of work that's involved in deploying a whole new keyboard, and that it was going to debut in the 16-inch MacBook. And then Ming-Chi Kuo kind of muddied the waters because he said, no, it's going to appear in a new MacBook Air. And everyone's like, but there's the MacBook Air this year is just a spec bump. And then it turned out, yeah, it's just a spec bump. So it was like super confusing. And he said it was going to come into a spec bumped MacBook next year, which sounded like the current MacBook, where everyone was hearing there was a 16-inch. And now he's come back this week and said, oh, no, ignore that last report. I don't know what I was imbibing, but it is going to be in the 16-inch MacBook Pro. And we've seen Digitimes and China Economic Daily, all with similar supply chain sourced rumors now that it's coming this fall, which is typically for Apple the October timeframe for MacBook Pros.
And also that there might be 2 new iPads at that time?
Several, which is confounding because Apple has, they put out the new iPad Pros last October, have put out the new iPad Mini and the new iPad Air. And this sounds like a 10.2-inch budget iPad update, which they updated not last year, not this year March, but last year March. So they are really up in the ante on their iPad updates.
Yeah. June filing with the Eurasian Economic Commission, basically kind of like an FCC filing, listed 7 models. Of those, the MacBook Air, MacBook Pro.
And the Air should have the new keyboard too when they do the next update.
Those took up 4 of them, but there are 3 model numbers that were not taken yet by the July releases. So that's another piece of evidence. Maybe even that it might be sooner if they submitted it at the same time as they did the new MacBook Air and the new MacBook Escape.
It's a weird schedule because the previous budget iPads were early releases in the year. People bought them for back to school, and this is much later in the year. Yeah. And the size is different again, but they just released the new Air, so it's going to differentiate that from the Air. It's 10.2. The sizes of iPads that are extant in our galaxy right now is amazing. Compared, like they were all 9.7, then 7.9 and 9.7. Now we'll have 12.9, we'll have 11, we'll have 10.5, 10.2, 9.7, 7.9. It's starting to feel like a Samsung tweet. I don't know how to feel about it.
Starting to feel like a shoe size. It's like a 9.5. I need the wide model. Yeah.
Well, I think more is always good. I'm excited, and I'm really interested in that 16-incher. But it'll be the fall. It won't be any sooner than that, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm super curious because the rumored price tag was around $3,000, which upset a lot of people because that's $600 more than the 15-inch. And you just have to remember the 17-inch was more than the 15-inch because we do like almost every vendor basis pricing on size, and we also have no idea what the specs will be on it. And Intel has some real expensive processors now that could radically change the price of the unit depending on which one they put in. But also if there's Face ID in it or if there's other technologies in it. So
that was the other rumors that they'd put Face ID in. But if you have small bezels, it's going to be hard to put in all those extra.
Google's shown you can put Face ID and add a radar into tiny bezels. That's not an issue anymore.
Yeah. It's also interesting if it really is like a MacBook Pro, a MacBook Pro squared, and they're really putting like hotter CPUs in there. That's not a problem. They're gaming CPUs that are that are the size of lunch trays that have like actually huge active fans in them. But if they have to make it just a little bit thicker to accommodate the cooling necessary for this kind of a fan
and a bigger battery, I would be happy.
It ups a whole bunch of things. It also would fall in line with them thinking that, well, we are absolutely not starved for space here, so let's put in that thicker keyboard into this model, and we'll have, and at least that way they will not have had to make any space sacrifices for the rest of the MacBook line. Right. And also, when inevitably, whenever you have a brand new key switch technology or any brand new thing that's in any brand new laptop, you're gonna have a whole bunch of returns in the first month and a half as you find out exactly how users can make these things fail. And when they get to the Rev B of this keyboard design, they're able to put all these new findings into the MacBook Air version of it and the MacBook Pro version of it.
I would love to see kind of a MacBook Pro. I like that notion.
Like the Pro Workflow Team's version of a MacBook Pro.
Yeah. And of course, many of us miss the 17-inch MacBook, but don't miss the size. Yeah. So I love the idea of fitting a 16-inch screen into roughly the same size as a 15-inch. I think all of that sounds exciting and good.
I have it when Apple came out with the MacBook Nothing. I have a friend who at the time his daily driver was a 17-inch MacBook Pro. When as it happened, I had my loaner unit with me. He had his 17-inch, and I had to take a picture of this MacBook on top of the this tiny MacBook, and it really looked like one of those like novelty cosmetic mirrors that's shaped like a MacBook.
Yeah. I used one for years. I used the 17-inch for years.
Oh,
it was a battleship.
I loved it. Me too. I still have a 17-inch Linux machine on my at my breakfast table. That's my morning machine, and I really like the size. It's nice to have that size. So I would also think that it's not completely illogical to say to people, if you want thin and light, and we've got the MacBook Air, you're going to have a slightly less processor, you're going to have a butterfly keyboard. We have that, and I think that that's a great thing to offer. I like my MacBook Air a lot. And then if you want a more powerful machine, a Pro machine, Pro squared machine, then that's the other option. I think it's not a bad thing to offer both. I don't think that's a problem.
No, their issue was the prosumer. Like they had a group of people who they knew, like there's this whole new, in the old days it was all these graphic intensive those were the hardcore pros, but then a bunch of new people, including founders, decided to self-identify as pros.
That's
and
right.
They figured out they could ship an awful lot of MacBook Pros that were just a little thinner and lighter. Right. And boy, did they! I mean, if you look at the results for MacBook Pros, they were stellar. But they did it at instead of adding those to the lineup or making a more powerful one on the top end, the way they made a stripped down one on the bottom end, they just alienated all those pros for a bunch of years. And it feels like this last year has been them making it up.
PC makers have been doing that for a year. They've had the executive model, for the C-level executives, is thin and light and beautiful, and they've had the power model for the guys who actually do work. And that's fine. I don't think that's a bad thing. I know Apple is.
You need the in between, Leo. You need the for the CEO who thinks he does work because he adjusts the colors on the website, and he wants the word pro, but he doesn't want the waiter, or she doesn't want the waiter.
Lisa's funny, who's our CEO and happens to be my wife. Always says, "I want the fastest one of it, whatever it is. I want the fastest one of it." And I hate to burst her bubble, but she doesn't really need the fastest one of anything.
No. See, you're misinterpreting this. It's like she's taking one for the team by saying this is a brand new model, has never been tested. It's probably going to be filled with hardware bugs and software incompatibilities. I would never inflict that upon the people working for me. Let me have all the restarts and all the battery problems and all the keyboard issues.
Yeah,
and the and the Kryptonian AI-based powered CPU. Okay, that's two.
And because she's a CEO and she's my wife and I love her and we wouldn't be anywhere as successful as we are without her, she gets the fastest one, whatever it is. She's probably going to get a Mac Pro. I wouldn't be surprised. Because
she already ordered it.
Yeah. She just got the widest screen I've ever seen in my life. I don't know. It's so wide that her Mac, in fact, I'm going to have to give her the iMac Pro, actually thinks it's two screens. It doesn't understand that this is one.
She has to watch every Twitch show at once, Leo.
Actually, that's kind of what she's doing. Yeah, she's got all sorts of stuff going. It's a very elaborate screen. So maybe she does need the fastest one.
Plus Pokemon and Harry Potter at the same time. This is amazing.
Yes, she plays. That's another thing. I look at her with wonder and awe because I can only play one game at a time. She plays both Pokemon and Harry Potter at the same time. Part of it, though, she has that Pokeball, right? So she can get the Pokeball running, spinning the stops.
You need a wand. You need a wand in the other hand.
I'm waiting for the wand. You know Niantic's going to do a wand.
So good.
There are third-party manufacturers who are making special styluses.
Yeah.
Wand-shaped
they look
styluses.
kind of
That's
I would have
dorky.
bought an Elder wand if they'd had one there, but they just had Scorpius's wand.
That's silly. Silly.